This is my Alienware X17 R2. It has the Core i9-12900HK, the GeForce RTX 3080 Ti laptop, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM, and 2 TB of SSD Gen 4. This has the 17.3 Full HD display. I've had this laptop for 2 months now, and those who follow my channel and watch my videos know that the laptop had a lot of problems initially. It had severe performance and overheating issues. But after applying liquid metal though, these problems were no longer there. This laptop looks just beautiful. I mean, I was a bit skeptical about the design at first, but in real life the color combination matches really well. The exterior, called Lunar Light, fits great with the black interior. Everything is in harmony and the colors blend together very nicely. About the color itself, it's not pure white as you might think at first, but it's more of a very light creamy white, just perfect. So open up the laptop. The interior on the other hand is in a sleek matte black finish. I personally haven't had any problems with fingerprints yet, but I mean, sure, it is self-explanatory that fingerprints will arise, but these can be wiped away very easily with a damp cloth. And if we take a look at the back, we see 2 large powerful vents which dissipate the heat. Surrounding these vents there is an oval, thin RGB strip. Alienware calls this legend design. The RGB light is very bright and it's also very visible during the day. I have a QWERTZ keyboard here, but basically the keyboard design is the same across all variants. We'll take a closer look at the keyboard later. I just want to tell you about the design here. The keyboard has per key RGB lighting. Around the entire keyboard we find huge vents to dissipate the heat that the laptop generates. On the upper right corner we find the power button, which is also illuminated. The trackpad is medium sized but not illuminated, unlike the X17 R1. Here on the lower right corner we find the i9 Intel logo. Let's take a look at the device from the front. Here we see 2 openings for the loudspeakers. I will go into more detail about these later. Let's have a closer look at the ports now. On the right side we find a headset port, which is a combination of headphone and microphone. On the left side we have the power adapter port. Mine came with the new 330 watt charger. The back side has following ports. Thunderbolt 4 port with power delivery, supports USB 4. USB 3.2 Gen 1 port with power share. Network port connects an Ethernet RJ45 cable, USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C port with DisplayPort 1.4 and power delivery. At this point, I would like to briefly touch on the topic of USB-C and Thunderbolts, because I know that many people do not understand the difference between the two. USB-C describes just the physical shape of the connector, not the technology inside the cable or connector. Thunderbolt, on the other hand, is a very fast transmission technology that works through/via USB-C plugs and ports. This is the HDMI port, a HDMI enabled device. It provides video and audio output. A second USB 3.2 Gen 1 port with power share. So then we have a micro SD card slot, and the last one is a mini display port. This port also enables G-Sync to external monitors, provided the monitor supports G-Sync. First of all, I'm very much disappointed about the keyboard, that it doesn't have a numpad. And anyone who has ever had a numpad will certainly know what I'm talking about. It's just so much more comfortable typing on a numpad. It's out of discussion for me. So, and the typing feel is very dull. It's not clicky or loud at all. However, the keys still feel very easy to press. It's hard to put into words. There was an option with the Cherry MX keys, but they didn't come with the QWERTZ variant, so I have the normal keys here. But all in all, the typing feel is very pleasant. I could probably imagine writing a very long essays with it. But what bothers me a lot about the keyboard is that the function keys are not backlit. So if you want to write something in the evening, You either have to have all the key positions in your subconscious, or you have to keep moving the laptop closer to an external light source to see which function keys are hidden. For a laptop that costs over $4.5 grand, this is unacceptable. I mean, the engineers who designed the whole thing here, they must have had reasons somewhere for leaving out the lighting, but for the end user, this is of course absolute bogus. The trackpad is small to medium sized for the size of the laptop. It doesn't have the desired sensitivity for me though. But you can adjust it to a certain degree, but it lacks the precision. Also, in my opinion, the pressure point of the touchpad is too high. I mean that you have to apply some pressure for it to click and the command to go through as an input. The pinch to zoom, on the other hand, works very well though. For all you Apple lovers, this feature has been implemented really well. And the trackpad is not equipped with RGB lighting. Fortunately, the screen does not have any pixel errors. I'm very pleased about that because I had bad experiences with it in the past. The Alienware X17 R2 I had before had a great stripe in the center of the display. Although they replaced the display, it had 3 pixel errors and no G-Sync support. The screen has 100% sRGB color accuracy. On the top of the screen you will find sensors and also the webcam. The webcam has a 720p resolution. Also, Windows Hello is supported on all models. This is the audio and video test of the Alienware X17 R2. I would have liked the panel to be brighter. It is very difficult to see anything during the day. I will be brief. These are the worst speakers I've ever heard on a laptop, let alone a $5,000 device. Well, you could argue that gamers wear headsets all the time anyway, but I use this device not only for gaming but also as an everyday device. Every now and then I listen to music or watch Netflix series with it. But what comes out of it is just shameful. Here, listen for yourself. So this is the sound test I will be doing. I'm using an iPhone 11 Pro Max with the Rode Mic L for the iPhone. And I will be testing the Alienware X17 R2 against my MacBook Pro A1707. Let's go. So 1.5 minutes have passed. Let's do the same test on the MacBook Pro. 1.5 minutes. I have centered the microphone, so the microphone is directly in between both devices. 3, 2, 1, go. It's just on another level. So guys, this was the speaker test against the Alienware X17 R2 and the MacBook Pro A1707. In reality, I can't report anything bad or negative about the build quality overall. The material quality is very solid and aluminum magnesium alloy is used. The screen is very rigid and cannot be bent easily. And the hinges work without any noticeable internal friction. They open without too much or too little resistance, just the right amount. Opening with one finger is no problem.
Before we start with the benchmark, I just want to tell you something very important. This time I used my iPhone 11 Pro Max to record all the benchmarks because OBS screen recording eats a lot of processing power and thus decreasing the overall performance of the laptop, especially in games. Without screen recording, I had like 30 to 40 frames per second more on average. And now we can start with the first game, which is Control Ultimate Edition.
Let's now move on to the most well-known benchmarks.
So, guys, let's now come to the conclusion of the review of the Alienware X17 R2. I've written this review as objectively as possible. The build quality is very good and the materials look very high quality. When I disassembled the machine, nothing was missing or incorrectly installed. The design and shape are unique, and the performance is now, after applying liquid metal, also very, very good. Take a look at the results of the benchmark to see for yourself. What I also like is the keyboard. The typing feel is very comfortable. What I didn't like so much is the initial performance and temperature problems. If you want to buy this laptop, it is essential to put liquid metal on the CPU. The Element 31 doesn't stand a chance against the Core i9-12900HK. As you could see in the benchmarks, the CPU didn't even have temperature throttling or whatsoever, even with the most intense stress. The lack of backlighting and the missing numpad is an absolute no-go for me, especially for a 17-inch device, let alone for a $5,000 device. So another thing that could have been done better would have been to distribute the ports evenly around the device. For me, the power connection was not cleverly solved. I think that exactly this connection should have been on the back. And where the power port is, perhaps a USB-C port. But the biggest negative point for me is the speakers. They are very poor compared to other laptops. The sound is very clattery, thin, and also very quiet. You can compare it to an old kitchen radio. And the Alienware Command Center is also, at least to say, very bad. It's not intuitive at all, and sometimes it doesn't work at all. Commands are not accepted, and the internal updating doesn't work either. I've been getting requests to upgrade a VCC for days. When I confirm that, nothing happens. It's loading for a couple of hours, and afterwards, or even the next day, I get the same message again to get an update, even though I had done it before. So that's the review of the Alienware X17 R2. I hope you enjoyed it. If you please like the video, and if you want to support me, feel free to subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to comment below the video. Take care and see you next time. Bye.